Hey guys, it's Jake from Wani here. I am here with Misha Mansoor from PERIPHEry. Misha, how you going, man?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Excited. I'm excited for the PERIPHEry tour that's coming on early next year.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, so you guys last toured here in late 2015 with Devin Townsend, but you're now coming back for your own headline show in February next year, and that's only about a 14 months gap between tours. And I guess looking back at the way your past tours have gone, the gaps seem to be getting smaller and smaller. Does that mean that this country has a special place for PERIPHEry?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably been one of the sort of most immediately accessible markets for us. I remember from our first tour, we were kind of taken aback because first time we played in Australia, people didn't really like us anywhere, but they liked us in Australia. And I think that always kind of stuck with us. It always left a positive feeling about going down there. And then every time since, it's just been better and better for us. So, we're always excited about going down, honestly. And I always do interviews every time before we go, and I always feel like I repeat myself, but it's the truth. Like it's a vacation for us.
Yeah, cool. Look, everyone knows that PERIPHEry is a band of many talents, and in the space of the last 18 months, you guys have released not one, not two, but 3 albums, which could quite easily be considered masterpieces. Like, this is not I guess it's not just a true feat in a market where bands typically release one album every 2 years, but I guess it's sort of a testament to the free-flowing creativity that the band has. Do you sort of agree with this?
That's the kind of stuff that would be too much pressure. It really is just when we have ideas we write. The amount of time between those albums, I'm sure there were people who would have said, oh, maybe you can maximize more of this or that or whatever, but that's all kind of irrelevant. And we have basically surrounded ourselves at this point with a group of people that are very supportive of our creativity and that kind of just let us do our thing and then figure out everything else around it. And that gives us the freedom to be creative when we want to be creative, and to tour when we want to tour, or not tour and take it easy when we don't want to tour. And that's awesome. It's taken a little while to get to this point, but that's really, I think, what this is all about, for us, at least.
Yeah. We'll go on to the album that you released earlier this year, Select Difficulty, and look, from my own personal observations, it's a very versatile album. It sort of flirts the boundaries with a few different styles, but it still remains a quintessential PERIPHEry album. What is it about the creative freedom that you have as a band, and particularly you as a guitarist, that makes you continue to write music that borders so many different influences but still retains that core sound that you guys are well known for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we've thought about that over the years, and you always wonder what it is that makes you sound like you, but I think the one thing that we've sort of come to terms with is that when we write together, we will sound like us. We kind of don't have to worry about that, and with that comes a freedom of you can just go off in whatever direction you want, really, and you can kind of go, you can just kind of trust that the PERIPHEry sound is going to come through no matter what.
Yeah.
And that sort of gives us the freedom to experiment more, if that makes sense, because we can kind of count on that as being the constant in the variable that is writing music.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes a lot of sense. And look, I think it's sort of highlighted particularly on the latest album, there's a lot of different harmonies and that on there that I guess are simply astounding in a way, and it sort of really complements the way that not only the guitar work comes through, but even the vocals, and it's something that initially catches, it caught my eye when I first started listening to the album, but how important is it to nail that balance on your albums?
There's nothing that we're aiming for. I'd say the only album where we were aiming for something is Juggernaut, because we had a very concrete idea of what we wanted. And that was the challenge, because in a sense, everything else we do is pretty aimless. It's just, hey, this is what we've been writing, this is what we think sounds cool, this is where we're at, this is the best collection of songs that we were able to put together at this time. These are things that we're proud of. And, you know, that's basically it. I feel like people search for a deeper meaning in that stuff, but it really, maybe for Spencer it's different because he's a lyricist, but I started to realize pretty recently how much writing music is just an aesthetic pursuit for me. It's just, well, it sounds cool, so therefore we'll do that. And I think it's the case for pretty much everyone else. Everyone else, except for maybe Spencer, because the lyrics sort of have a different attachment to them.
Yeah, so I guess while we're on the topic of like the music and lyrics and everything on the album, I think like going back to when I initially heard it, I think that Marigold is a track that sort of embodies the best attributes of not only yourself as a band but music in general. I know you're saying that you don't really think that they're like, don't really try and look for deeper meanings, but that sort of came across from me. There's sort of some diversity from your normal sound with the band employing the use of like choir style background singing, and it works to great effect. But I'm sure you've played this track live for fans on the road. How have they responded to it, and are they singing along to it, man?
You know, it's really interesting. I'd say there's usually a break-in period for a new album. Does that make sense? You'll see bands that play newer stuff, and we've had this experience too, where we'll play some newer stuff, and it sort of takes a second for, you know, people to get it, or it might take a tour or two. We ended up touring fairly quickly after the album was released, and I think all of us were taken aback by how well not only the crowd knew the songs, but how the reaction the songs were getting. I mean, we were getting the strongest reactions from our new from the Periphery 3 material, and yeah, a song like Marigold, I mean, like, it's those moments, you know, where you have the whole crowd singing, and it's one of those, you know, one of those moments where that will make your hair stand on end. You know, it's one of those things that is it leads to one of those moments where you're like, oh yeah, this is why this is awesome. You know, yeah. So you get little things every now and then live, and it was cool to get that from so many songs off the new album.
Yeah.
You know, another great example being Loon. I don't think any song has ever given me chills the way that song does when we play it live.
Yeah.
Like, just thinking about that live is giving me chills right now. So, you know, it was a real treat. It was a real treat to see how people reacted to these songs live, because we had sort of managed our expectations based off of releasing songs and the way things normally work. So it was a very, very pleasant surprise for us.
Yeah, cool. So we'll swap over now to the music industry. How important are sales for a band like yourself? I mean, I'm saying that in the respect that you guys always seem to be on the road. Is your album sales the main source of income, or is it the touring or buying CDs, or how important are album sales for you guys?
I mean, everything's important nowadays. Album sales have really gone down the drain ever since streaming became sort of a popular way to consume music. I'm not bashing streaming either, because I do see its benefit, and I'm also very realistic. You know, I don't think that there's any point in sort of crying over spilt milk with this situation. It is what it is. And when we entered this music industry, it wasn't really a favorable situation for the artist. So I don't think we had any delusions to begin with, but it has gotten substantially worse since then. And I think we've just learned to adapt and sort of get creative and find ways maybe not to rely on album sales and things that have become less consistent in recent years to get by. Really, we sort of have to have our eggs in several baskets to survive as musicians. And I think we're seeing that. We're seeing that the bands that manage to sort of pull that off or seem to transcend to where they can actually make enough off the album sales and merch, everything combined, those are the bands that are sticking around, and you're seeing a lot of bands folding and calling it, because especially as you get older, as you approach your mid-30s, and your priorities become different. I mean, this was already sort of a contentious period for musicians, but now, with there being even less money to go around, it's really not worth it for a lot of people and a lot of bands. And I'd say, so far, so good. Our support's been great, and we're so thankful. We have such a dedicated fan base. So that's been half of it, but the other half of it has been sort of seeing this coming and preparing and not putting ourselves in a position where we're relying solely on Periphery to get by, because we would also probably have to call it if we did at this point.
Yeah, fair enough. So swapping over now, you guys have actually been nominated for a Grammy for the Best Metal Performance this year. You're up against Baroness, Gojira, Megadeth and Korn. Who do you think's going to win, man?
Definitely not us.
Definitely.
I think it's amazing enough that we got nominated. I'll take that, and I count my blessings. It's hard to say. It's a stacked lineup. I feel like they did a very, very good job picking like metal bands. I don't even know who I would choose there. There's a lot of really good options. There's a lot of options. If it's more of a popularity contest, I would say probably be Megadeth or Korn. But I think I'd be stoked to see any of them win, to be quite honest. Because I feel like it's still a win for metal.
Yeah. So on the topic of win for metal, we'll swap over to the rock category of the Grammys now, and the list of nominees there is sort of a bit surprising. You've got artists like David Bowie and Beyonce under Best Rock Performance. There's no metal in there. What's your take on that?
I mean, there's no metal in the rock. I don't know how this stuff gets synced, to be honest. But that is sort of a wide range of music covered between those two artists there, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know enough to comment on this. I really don't know how this stuff is picked. But maybe there should be more categories, is all I would say.
Yeah. All right, Misha, look, that's all I had time for today. I think we've covered everything that we wanted to chat about. But is there anything that you want to let the Australian fans know ahead of the tour in February before you guys come down here?
Just that we're super excited to come back. As I said, it's always basically a vacation for us, where we also get the sort of added benefit of playing a show, and the shows there are always a treat. I mean, like, some of the most awesome crowds we have ever played to have been in Australia, so I feel like they have more to live up to than we do at this point, so you guys better not disappoint. But seriously, I can't wait. Like, it's gonna be so much fun, and it is so goddamn cold here, and I fucking hate the cold so goddamn much. So I can't wait to go to nice, sunny, warm, happy Australia to get away from this bullshit right now.
Fair enough. All right, Misha, thanks so much for your time today, and we'll look forward to seeing you in February.
All right, see you then, man.
Bye.